Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the Utorch Ut01. Before we get into this, let's talk about what this is. This is a clone of the Manker E11. Now, Manker is a house brand for Banggood.com, and Mankers are made by Astrolux, so somehow in the complex inner workings of the flashlight universe, the Utorch Ut01 came into being, which is pretty much the Manker E11, but just called differently for, I'm assuming, contract purposes. Now, this light is very inexpensive. You can get this for less than $20 at Gerabest, and of course I'll put links in the description. And guys, feel free to use those affiliate links. They help out the channel. You know, they're pretty much, with the whole advertising thing going on with YouTube, they're pretty much the majority of the channel's income. So if you got to do some shopping, hey, support us. It helps. Every little bit helps. All right, so let's go over the numbers with this bad boy here. Now this takes, alkaline batteries, AA's, nickel metal hydride rechargeables, and 14500 lithium ion rechargeables. Now if you're using a regular AA, you're going to have a low mode of 2 lumens for 171 hours. A low mode of 60 lumens for 11 hours, medium 200 lumens for 2.2 hours, and a high of 400 lumens for 1.2 hours. Switch over to a 14500 lithium. Your low mode goes up to 10 for 44 hours. Low is 100 for 12, medium is 320 for 1.7 hours, and high is 800 for 0.4 hours, which is just under half an hour. All the usual stuff: IPX8 waterproof, impact resistant to 2 meters, partridge in a pear tree, yada yada yada. I'll spare you all the details. These things are pretty standard now when it comes to flashlights. Alright, so my testing. It did not live up to the rated lumens. I only got around 600, but the interesting thing is most sites actually advertise this as a 700 lumen light. I'm not sure why Gerabest is advertising it as 800, so take that for what it is. I got more like 600. Now my numbers can be off by quite a bit, so it really could be like 650, 675, and just, I'm off. My numbers came in a little low for rechargeable batteries as well. But run times, actually my run times did better than the advertised. I got over 30 minutes with this with a 14500, and I think it was actually closer to 2 hours with the AA rechargeable, so definitely did well. One of the big things, this is very picky about battery length. With this one you're going to need the button top cells, which is kind of unfortunate. You do really need to pay attention to what batteries work in this versus don't work. I haven't had any problems with the nickel metal hydrides or alkalines, just the 14500s. Alright, so let's take a look at the knife. Yeah, I got that on the brain, the flashlight. So you can see we have a flat tail cap, so you can tail stand. Deep carry pocket clip. It's very tight in the pocket. This is actually very difficult to get in your pocket, but at the same time it's very strong of a clip. My anticipation is that clip will last a long time. This is one of the better, stronger clips. Even though it is kind of tough, I do appreciate it because I know it's not going to wear out quickly. Alright, we'll open up this tail cap, take a look inside there first, then kind of move upward. Alright, so you can see here that is one stout spring. This light does pull 2 amps on turbo, so you do need a pretty strong, pretty stout spring, and that they do. They did not skimp on it. It's a nice coated spring, for good low resistance. Alright, your threads came lubricated with an O-ring, and you can also see that the threads are anodized, so you can physically lock out the light by loosening the tail cap a little bit, and that will actually physically lock out the light, which we're going to get back to in a little bit because that's actually important with this light. Oh, and that's gone. Alright, let's see if I can do this without knocking my microphone off. Oh, look at that, I did it. Old Bushcraft 412 can't screw it all up all the time. Sorry for being off camera, guys. Alright, moving forward. Tube has some nice knurling. You move up to the switch, and you do have a nice flat where the switch is, which is nice because it does let you index and find that switch if you are perchance in the dark. So, tighten that back up so we can actually turn the light on. We'll get to mode operation in a second. We're going to open up this head first. Once again, same thing in the head. Anodized threads. And lo and behold, what's that say? Manker E11. So I wasn't bull crapping you. And you can see there is no spring in the head, which is why it's so important to have button top batteries. Moving forward, nothing on the bezel, no stainless steel or anything like that. You got nice glass on there. It's not anti-reflective, as you can see. It does pick up quite a bit of reflection there. It's an orange peel reflector and the XPL LED. Alright. So let's talk about this. Operation. Turning it on. Simple as pushing the button. And it does have mode memory, so it will go on the last mode that you used. You gotta leave it on for a couple seconds for that to happen though. So once it's on, you're clicking to switch between your 4 modes. Pretty simple. Long click turns you back off. Okay, now double click brings you to strobe. Another click brings you to your blinky. Another click brings you to your beacon. I find these very handy for backpacking, because sometimes when you set a light down, you know, it's nice to, you know, especially in the dark, to have that so you know you're not going to lose it. Double click again brings you back to your normal modes. You can cycle through those, and that long press to turn off. Very simple operation, very easy to use. Alright, now this switch is what's called an E-switch, an electronic switch. The difference between them and your standard tail click is that this is powered all the time. Now what this allows is for you to basically access things like strobe from the off position, which you can do by just double clicking, and you go instantly into strobe. You can't do that with a tail switch because there's no power. That's actually cutting the power to the whole flashlight. This flashlight is actually powered the entire time, but that switch, you know, minimizes it to a minimum. Now I did measure it with a multimeter, and it is a couple milliamps. So this is a light, if you leave the battery in it and leave it as is, that battery will probably be dead in 1 to 2 months based on my calculations. So I did want to point that out. How do you prevent that? And you're golden. That is called lockout. Take advantage of those anodized threads to lock the light out, to keep it from accidentally turning on, which a lot of people do, but also for long-term storage, that cuts the power to the E-switch. Very important to note. So overall, guys, even with the fact that this came up low on lumens compared to what the factory says, this is still a hell of a deal. This is like a $16 or $17 light that puts out 600 lumens and can use AA's, rechargeables, and the lithium ions. Most of the competition is well above $30. In fact, even the bargain competition, like the Thorfire TG06, is still like right around the same price as this, and you are getting way more lumens and way better runtime with this over the Thorfire. So this is literally the best value on the market when it comes to AA flashlights. Okay, so one thing we do have to take in consideration is Manker's reputation. Now, Manker has a reputation of poor quality control. Lots of reports of dead on arrival lights, lots of reports of lights dying, and stuff like that. I do want to put that out there and note that. I have not had a problem with a Manker light or an Astrolux light yet. Yet is the key word, but if you do your research, you will see there are a lot of issues on the internet where people have posted about it. You know, I think they're pretty good. You know, you have to bear in mind that a lot of the problems with flashlights happen because of people's lack of experience. Oftentimes you get retaining rings or things like that come loose, or the head comes loose, or maybe the retaining ring holding the driver in or something like that comes loose, and people just don't know enough to tighten it up. And then sometimes, guys, you know, because there is electrical current here, these things do create carbon. They can get gummed up, and if you don't clean these out with rubbing alcohol, you know, on the contact points every once in a while, they can kind of like not work as good. So cleaning them is a regular part of the maintenance. So, you know, so I'd imagine a portion of those are due to, you know, user error, but still Manker does have a bit of a rep for it. So